In the heart of Brazil's vast, sun-soaked landscapes, a hidden history awaits discovery. We embark on a journey that unearths a past marked by exploitation and resilience, where glimmers of gold intertwined with the brutality of slavery. In this untold narrative, we traverse colonial Brazil, explore the dark corridors of forced labor, and witness the unstoppable force of human spirit as communities rose in defiance of their oppressors. Our story begins in the mid-16th century, when Brazil's colonial stage was set by relentless ambition and unyielding power. Portuguese colonizers, driven by an insatiable hunger for wealth, laid the foundations of a system built on exploitation. They imported enslaved Africans to work the land and extract precious minerals in dangerous, grueling conditions. Between 1540 and the 1860s, as many as 5 million enslaved Africans were forcibly brought to these new lands, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's soul. Each captured individual carried with them dreams, hopes, and a strength that would one day fuel a resilient resistance against an all-consuming darkness. As the colonial era unfolded, gold emerged as both a beacon of prosperity and a curse that deepened the suffering of millions. In the 1690s, a gold rush transformed Brazil into the world's largest producer of the precious metal. The discovery of gold in Minas Gerais not only redefined the colony's economy, but it also escalated the demand for enslaved labor. The booming mines, lush and seemingly promising, concealed harsh working conditions and the environmental scars of relentless extraction. Though gold fueled dreams of wealth and upward mobility for a privileged few, the majority toiled under the shadow of exploitation, their everyday struggles interwoven with the shimmering promise of fortune. In this turbulent era, the brutal reality of slavery became a central, defining conflict. Enslaved individuals, ripped from the rich cultures of Africa, had to navigate a landscape where humanity was traded like a commodity. Their lives became a testament to survival in a world that treated their pain and loss as collateral for economic gain. But within this tapestry of oppression glimmered the seeds of rebellion and hope. Stories of unimaginable hardship mixed with moments of daring resistance, as communities found ways to preserve their identities and their dignity. In defiance of dehumanization, these hearts beat with a rhythm of rebellion that challenged the very foundation of injustice. Deep in the wilderness of colonial Brazil, emerging Quilombos became sanctuaries and symbols of freedom. One such sanctuary, the Quilombo dos Palmares, arose in the late 16th century as a confederation of runaway slaves determined to reclaim their autonomy. In these hidden communities, traditions, language, and culture intermingled to kindle a spirit of defiance against an oppressive regime. Under the leadership of figures like Zumbi, these enclaves became fortresses of hope, where every stone and tree testified to the courage of those who believed that a life free from chains was possible. Their resistance was not just a struggle for survival, but a bold declaration of independence, a legacy that still resonates today as a call for justice and recognition. The story of resistance continued to unfold with the dramatic events of the Malay Revolt in Salvador, Bahia in 1835. Over 600 enslaved African Muslims took up arms, their uprising born from a desire to reclaim humanity and religious dignity. This explosive revolt, fueled by the power of Islamic teachings and a collective yearning for freedom, marked one of the most significant challenges to the slave system in Brazil. Their brave stand against systemic cruelty, though ultimately suppressed, rippled through history as a stirring reminder that hope could shine even in the darkest of times. The courage exhibited in that revolt continues to inspire not only descendants of the enslaved, but all who fight against injustice around the world. Throughout these chapters, Brazil's pursuit of gold and wealth was intertwined with a heart-wrenching human cost. The relentless demand for gold led to an influx of both Portuguese immigrants and enslaved Africans, creating a volatile mix of ambition and exploitation. As the country surged financially, vast tracts of lush forests were decimated, and the land bore the scars of environmental devastation. The very riches that promised prosperity became instruments of inequality, intensifying social stratification and laying the groundwork for conflicts that would echo for centuries. Amid the lucrative glow of wealth, the stark reality of oppression grew ever more severe. In the spaces between mining operations and colonial outposts, individual acts of rebellion became the foundation for a broader legacy of resistance. Slave narratives, often whispered in secret or passed down through generations, illuminated the inner strength of communities determined to preserve their heritage. One finds in these stories the resilient spirit of countless individuals who refused to surrender to fate. Their acts, small and large, wove a tapestry of courage that spanned centuries. Each revolt, escape, and act of defiance served as a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, the human spirit can triumph over the forces of dehumanization and despair. As time progressed and Brazil began to emerge from the darkest days of its colonial past, new voices began to rewrite the narrative of their nation. The end of slavery in 1888 did not erase the legacy of exploitation, nor did it immediately pave the way for equality. The scars of the past, etched into the landscape of Afro-Brazilian communities, continued to influence social and economic disparities. Yet, woven into this painful legacy were also the enduring teachings of resistance and the undying desire for justice. The lessons of the past became the impetus for future movements that sought to heal historical wounds and build a more equitable society. In our quest to re-examine Brazil's colonial history, it is impossible not to acknowledge the human toll exacted by the intertwined forces of gold and slavery. Behind every statistic lies a personal story, a life forever altered by the machinery of colonial exploitation. The numbers remind us that nearly 40% of all Africans forcibly brought to the Americas found themselves in Brazil, their lives marked by loss, but also by the indomitable will to resist. Their journey is not just a historical record, but an ongoing influence that shapes conversations about race, identity, and justice in modern Brazil. The echoes of their struggles can be seen in every corner of society, urging us to listen, learn, and act. Visualize the archival images that capture these moments in time. Black and white snapshots of rugged miners hauling ore, stirring depictions of secret meetings among enslaved communities, and haunting portraits that speak of wounds both visible and invisible. These images serve as windows into a past that is both awe-inspiring and agonizing. They remind us that history is not merely a series of dates and events, but a living, breathing narrative crafted by individuals whose lives were as complex as they were tragic. The visual testimony of Brazil's colonial era helps us piece together a story that is rich in emotion and fraught with conflict, a story of exploitation, a tale of insurmountable odds, and ultimately a chronicle of resistance and redemption. Turning now to a more personal dimension of this historical journey, we hear the voices of those who lived through these turbulent times. Descendants of enslaved Africans carry with them not only the memories of brutal oppression, but also the unwavering pride for the legacy of their ancestors. These voices recount whispered legends of secret meetings held under starlit skies, where plans of rebellion and freedom were carefully charted. They speak of the indelible imprint left by the Quilombos and of the passionate outburst in Salvador that challenged an entire system. Their stories, passed down through generations, are a testament to resilience, a call to remember that every struggle, no matter how dire, can spark a revolution of hope. At the crossroads of past and present, Brazil today grapples with the lingering shadows of its colonial legacy. Economic and social challenges continue to remind the nation of the deep-seated impacts of centuries-old exploitation. Yet within these challenges, there is also a powerful drive toward renewal, a determination to acknowledge the full scope of history and learn from its lessons. In classrooms, community centers, and public debates across Brazil, discussions about the brutal history of slavery, the environmental and social impacts of the gold rush, and the moral imperatives of resistance are vibrant and unyielding. Scholars and citizens alike rally for social justice, calling for a re-examination of history that honors both the suffering endured and the courage that emerged. As we approach the conclusion of our journey, the rich tapestry of Brazil's untold history comes into sharp focus. The brutal realities of colonial exploitation, the scourge of slavery, and the environmental ravages of the gold trade are interwoven with narratives of hope, bravery, and enduring resistance. This is a story of contrasts, the glimmer of precious gold set against the tears of countless souls, the oppressive weight of colonial ambition met by the unbreakable will to fight for freedom. Such stories, though born in a time of great turmoil, continue to inform contemporary debates on justice and equality. In reflecting on these narratives, we see that Brazil's colonial past is not simply a chronicle of loss. Instead, it is a saga of relentless human effort, the quest for dignity in the face of overwhelming odds, and the profound belief that even in the darkest of times, light can emerge. Every archival image, every recorded moment of defiance, and every whispered tale of resilience contributes to an enduring legacy that challenges us to learn, to empathize, and to seek justice. The shadows of the past reveal a roadmap toward a more just future, urging us to honor the sacrifices of those who came before. Today, as you witness the enduring legacy of resistance and resilience, remember that these untold stories are more than historical accounts. They are powerful reminders of the courage that lies within every human heart. Brazil's journey through the brutal realities of slavery and the tumult of the gold rush is a testament to the unyielding spirit that refuses to be silenced. It invites us not only to reflect on a painful past, but also to find inspiration in the determination to build a future where every voice is valued.